Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start in New England. Do you all know the 10th commandment? Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's house. It's a really tough commandment. I mean, who hasn't looked across at his neighbor's house and thought, sure would be nice sitting in that big old house.
Miss Parker.
Which made me think, is that what Tom Brady is thinking when he looks at the fine house that Sean Payton built for his bottom quarterback, Drew Brees?
Ugh.
You see that QB cave Peyton put in Drew's mansion? That 90-inch wingspan, big screen wide receiver Michael Thomas? Man, running back Alvin Kamara is a PlayStation 4 with 2 remote joysticks. Tight end Jared Cook is a custom-designed pool table. Tom Brady has every right to cover Drew Brees' house. There are 2 40-year-old quarterbacks playing in the NFL's wild card round against formidable and dangerous opponents, Brady and Brees. Brady's going to take on the Tennessee Titans Saturday night. He has to hope the Titans score fewer than 17 points because the Patriots haven't won a game all season when New England's offense has had to score. Brady has no QB cave. Compared to Michael Thomas, Brady's top target, Julian Edelman, is a Nintendo console. He's broken down and outdated. Brady has to take the field Saturday and pray that Stephon Gilmore and the Patriots defense score points or create a short field. Brady enters the weekend totally dependent. Meanwhile, Brees is going to take the field Sunday and try to personally bury the Vikings with a set of toys provided by Peyton. Brady is definitely jealous. He might even be angry about the whole thing. Brees is likely the reason Brady wants to continue playing and is open to the idea of playing for a different franchise. Brady believes if he had the same tools as Brees, he'd be putting up the same numbers as Brees. Brees and Brady are earning similar salaries this season. For quarterbacks, they earn modest salaries, the kind of salaries that afford a coach and a general manager the ability to construct complete teams. Peyton and general manager Mickey Loomis have done a better job than Bill Belichick and his minions. We know New Orleans has built a better offense, and I'm reluctant to say that New England's allegedly historic defense is better than the Saints unit. New Orleans' defense has faced much stiffer competition. When the Patriots lose on Saturday, Brady's likely going to receive more blame for the loss than Belichick. The truth might be something different. Brady's going to believe he was let down by a coach who has spent way too much time anticipating his inevitable demise rather than doing everything to extend Brady's time at the top. He'll point to Peyton and Brees as the examples. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst LeVar Arrington and Super Bowl champion Brady Papinga. Marcellus, start us off. Think Brady blames Belichick for the Patriots' lack of weapons?
No, not at all. I think he's sitting there respecting the unfortunate circumstances that has occurred in New England with the lack of weapons that they have. But if you think about Belichick, his efforts and his attempts were all in the right place. Think about it. N'Keal Harry drafted this year, injured for a couple months, starting to come on, but still the injury. He went after AB, self-imploded. Josh Gordon, self-implosion. Fullback gets hurt, kicker gets hurt, offensive tackle gets hurt, Sony Michel underperforming. Kind of like Alvin Kamara is over there, if people remember, you know. Sony Michel actually has one more touchdown than his PlayStation 4. You talking about, it must be broke in that case.
4.9 yards a carry.
4.9 yards a carry? Give him the ball more. Oh, underperforming out there. So what's happening with Tom Brady right now is just simple. He's like, look, there are times when I've had a stacked deck. And in those moments when I won an MVP 3 different times, what happened at the end of the year? Oh, I had to just go home with the MVP trophy because we didn't win a Super Bowl. So this is a guy who realizes, based on these circumstances, it's still the recipe for success. He can go out there and win ball games as he has before with not exactly standard in terms of weapons. So I say Tom Brady's fine with this situation.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of your points, Marcellus. I certainly don't think that he's blaming Belichick for the lack of weapons based off of the AB situation and the Josh Gordon situation due to some of the injuries. But I also look at where this team is currently right now. And one of the biggest, I think motivating factors that are going to play a major part going into these playoffs is that everybody is trying to put dirt on top of this New England's team.
I am.
And certainly trying to put.
Have you seen that clock?
And certainly trying to.
Have you seen our clock?
And certainly trying to put dirt on top of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is focused on the playoffs. Bill Belichick is focused on the playoffs. And knowing that this is the defending Super Bowl champs, the defending Super Bowl champs that are playing this upcoming weekend in the wild card, it is the defending Super Bowl champs with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I think that the focus is on taking what they have and winning with what they have. And if you are counting this team out based upon their loss to the Miami Dolphins, then shame on you, is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that Tom Brady's not I'm with you guys. He's not blaming Bill Belichick, but it is Bill Belichick's fault that there isn't enough weapons around Tom Brady. And the biggest one has to do with the tight end position. I mean, that's your biggest void. And right now, you call a tight end basically in quarterback's terms his binky. That's what keeps the quarterback just calm when the pressure's collapsed. You can find him over the middle, especially Gronkowski. That's a big binky. Yep. And lo and behold, well, in the offseason, he had a couple choices. You had Jared Cook, who goes to New Orleans, and then Ben Watson. And lo and behold, he doesn't end up with Jared Cook. Jared Cook goes to the New Orleans Saints. He has Ben Watson, and Ben Watson struggled. He hasn't caught that many balls. I think 15 or so balls. Hasn't been very impactful. And that's been the missing piece with the New England Patriots. And that's why Tom Brady right now is struggling a little bit.
Well, that same missing piece was missing last year. People forget that Gronkowski turned into a blocking tight end during the regular season. So let's go apples to apples. This time last year, no one was banking on what Gronk ended up doing in the playoffs because of what Gronk did in that regular season, to the point where Gronk is now working with us. He knew that his better days were behind him. This team right now has the 7th best scoring offense. Right now, they have a better defense than they had last year. They have a better record than they had last year. And they're looking like we're going to change things when we face the teams in the playoffs. Different mentality. Tennessee didn't finish the year strong, as everyone is giving them the credit for. Remember, they had a must-win game for the division against Houston? How did that go?
They lost.
Not too good.
Right. And then we're talking about them playing against the Saints. They were up and lost that game as well. So the statement victories, they beat a JV Houston team without their quarterback in the last week. And everyone's saying, here they come. Well, Vegas is smarter than us. Vegas is saying New England's going to win this game, and you better bet with Vegas.
Come on, get it out.
Here we go.
Pull it on out. Hey, wait. Pull it on out.
Because, again, last year, this year. Here's a fact, and it's up for debate, but it's a fact in my mind. This Patriots team isn't as good as last year's Patriots team because Rob Gronkowski isn't there. Period. End of discussion. They know it. You know it. Brady knows it. And Brady is... Brady, in his private moments at home, he'd never bring it to the locker room. But this is the other fact. Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis have managed their team the last year or two better than Brady and Belichick have managed their team.
Can I get
now?
What?
And again, you give them that pass interference call and put them in the Super Bowl.
Them that, huh?
They win.
Put them in the Super Bowl.
They win the Super Bowl.
And then
with the pass interference.
Yeah, but that ring is in Foxborough.
Okay, it's in Foxborough.
That ring is in Foxborough. Let's not move the goalposts.
But Tom Brady has every reason to sit there and say, look what they've given Drew Brees. He's got the requisite weapons, and look how he's performing. And y'all got me out here looking like Pookie, strung out with no help.
That's my turkey.
And I just think jealous. I think there's a little jealousy. Maybe he doesn't fully blame Belichick. Maybe he understands. But damn, you can't send a 42-year-old quarterback out there with Josh Gordon, who's always been a question mark, Antonio Brown, who's lost his mind, and a rookie, N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
You got to do better than that.
Look, you got to do better than this. You over here starting statements saying, well, this is a fact, but we can argue it. If it's a fact, there's no arguing this. But let me say this. It's not a fact that it's because of Gronkowski. He has to be sitting there feeling a certain type of way. Patriots tight ends last year, how many touchdowns?
No. Postseason.
Oh, okay. But guess what?
Just talk postseason.
Okay.
We're in the postseason
I love
now.
you. But guess what? At this time last year, they weren't in the postseason. So I'm going off of the confidence they have now approaching the postseason. But since you want to talk like that.
Look through the window, not the rear view mirror. Look ahead.
I'll look. And I'll look through that window right now. And I'm looking to see if Drew Brees in his last 3 years, you said, was properly managed. How many titles have they won in the last 3? Because I know how many the Patriots have. 2.
I hate to go there because I don't even really believe it. But they got screwed last year. I mean,
They gonna give them a championship?
Come on, Whit. You don't. Come on.
That's what we do up here.
Look, I'm sorry. No, I didn't like it because they should have. Sean Payton should have managed the game. But come on, that call was questionable.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but the Patriots did. And they did. And listen.
Yeah, I'm on weak ground.
Looking at where we are right now with this Patriots team, we can look from the time they started winning Super Bowls against the greatest show on turf to where we are present day. There have always been conversations of surrounding, do they have enough? I remember when Antoine, what was it? Who was it? No. Who was the running back? Antoine Smith.
My
And
dog.
they're like, we need a running back. We need a running back. Here comes Antoine Smith. We need a running back. Kevin Folk isn't good enough. He can't handle it for you. Kevin Folk is handling it. Oh, you bring in guys like Fred Taylor. There has always been the discussion points. Corey Dillon comes in. There has always been the discussion points.
None of them guys is Hall of Famers.
It doesn't matter.
Gronkowski's
They're
a Hall
Super Bowl.
of Famer
They're Super
that
Bowl.
They replaced with some guy named Matt.
Those guys are Super
Matt
Bowl
Costco
winners.
Or whoever his name is.
They win
You can't
Super
replace
Bowls.
Gronk with Matt Costco.
There will be names like Harry. There will be names like Michelle that pop up at you when this team gets closer or back into the Super Bowl. Stop counting them out. They are the champ. Until somebody knocks them out, there is no reason to sit here and put dirt on top of these guys.
But they're still not the same team. And you can bring up Gronkowski and his lack of production last year all you want. But you know as good as me, LeVar, you know as good as all of us know this. If you got Gronkowski lining up, it doesn't matter where he lines up.
He's going to block.
It absolutely changes your defense. Because why?
Respect.
You got to put 2 guys on him.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're taking a guy out of run support, and lo and behold, Sony Michel is able to run like crazy, which he did last year, and that was the key for them to be able to wear down that Los Angeles Rams
Will you stop that when Ramsey went out there and said, I could single cover Gronk, and actually did, because of the reality that Gronk was slowing down. Then last year he became a running, blocking tight end.
Did not happen. No defense looked at Gronk like, oh, he's just a blocker. He's a slug bug. That's what we used to call the blocking tight end.
You got some
He's
fans,
a slug bug.
boy. God,
he wasn't a slug
They
bug.
call Tom Brady a crybaby, need a pacifier. Now we got snug
Well, he
bug.
does, because-
What is a snug bug?
Oh, I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady, he is filling or I don't know what you'd call it, like is in the
lack of
secondary.
binky in the mouth.
Well, no, in the secondary, if you're going across the middle and you drop a pass and you don't get hit, you're filling the footsteps, right?
Right.
He's filling the footsteps in the pocket now. He's taken on hits for 24 years. Eventually, your self-preservation mechanisms are going to kick in.
Oh, so in year 23, it
And
didn't
so-
kick in, huh? When he won the Super Bowl last year.
I don't know. It just kicks in differently
Oh, it
for
did?
everybody.
Oh, okay.
Well, even
This
Favre.
is the time.
Well, listen to this.
With the better record.
Favre, when they interviewed Favre, said, hey, man, why are you stepping away from the game? Because he could still throw the ball. He still was athletic. He said, because I was sick of taking the hits. Tom Brady's there. He's sick of taking the hits. That's why he's throwing the balls away quick. That's why he's a little off on his timing. I'm telling you, this is not the same Patriots team.
Hell of a point, which leads to the next question. Think Tom Brady is still as good as Drew Brees?
No. Being respectful to both of them, I saw Drew Brees day one when we drafted him as the San Diego Chargers, and he had more to work with from day one than Tom Brady. This is almost a talent conversation, almost an athletic-based conversation where you could build more on Drew Brees than you could on Tom Brady coming out day one. Now, we all know the story of the 3 little pigs, right? What was it? Sticks and straws and bricks. Like Cam Newton is bricks. I don't give a damn what Father Time does to him. You know what? You got a lot to build up on. Drew Brees is more. Drew Brees is not sitting there like Tom Brady, where Tom Brady is really straw. And then Drew Brees is kind of like sticks, a little bit more than that. So I'm looking at it like Tom Brady wasn't as talented as Drew Brees, and he built himself up into something greater than Drew Brees in terms of team success, and some will argue even individual success. But Drew Brees is a more talented quarterback who is going to work and leverage Father Time a little better than Tom Brady.
I'm going to go back, since we're going to go all the way back to when Drew Brees was coming out of college, I'll go back to when they were in college. And Drew Brees was a better talent than Tom Brady.
Bang, bang.
However, Tom Brady was a winner. even in college. He knew how to win in college. I never won one game against Michigan. You know why? Because of gosh darn 12 coming out on the field and finding a way to push the ball downfield. When we whooped his tail for 4 quarters, just not 4 quarters in this second, Tom Brady gets you. Drew Brees, not so much. Never lost to Drew Brees. We were able to beat Drew Brees. We could scheme against Drew Brees. We were able to win against Drew Brees. Same thing in the pros, all right? Both have had great success. Both have played very well. But when I look at what you're asking me right now, do I think Brady is still as good as Brees? In the playoffs, I'm going to add, even though that's not part of the question, in the playoffs, I will say, even though I heard Bucky put that blasphemous type of argument discussion points out here while I was gone, Drew Brees is not on the level of Tom Brady. None of these quarterbacks in this playoff are on the level of Tom Brady because Tom Brady knows how to win games. I don't care if you're asking me who's the better, who's just as good, who do I want. I don't care all this stuff we're talking about. Put Tom Brady in my huddle, put Tom Brady in my locker room because I know I have the best chance of winning with that guy at my quarterback's position.
Whoa.
No way. I'm sorry, guys. You can't. I mean, you can live off Tom Brady's history all you want in his accolades, but in this moment,
Thank you.
2020,
Right.
January 2nd. What are we at? Like 12:30 Pacific time. Drew Brees is a better quarterback. Drew Brees is not. He's not filling those footsteps. He's not getting the ball out too quick. He is playing the quarterback position better than Tom Brady. That's why their offense is more explosive, and that's why they're more of a dangerous team right now.
Bang.
Sounds good.
This is tough for me.
I want the knife.
I think he's still as good as Drew Brees. I just think he needs a better supporting cast. And I look at Tom Brady, and you're right, he is getting rid of the ball quicker. But I think this, like, why hold on to the ball with these guys I'm working with here? The payoff, the reward isn't as good as when I held on to the ball and like, I'm gonna give Gronk a half second more. I just don't think that payoff is there, so he does get rid of the ball. But if you give Tom Brady all the same pieces as Drew Brees has, I think what I've seen from Tom Brady this year in certain spots, I think he would be doing just as well as Drew Brees.
Tom Brady going further in the playoffs than Drew Brees.
Whatever. That doesn't mean
Put your bottle where your face is.
That's a team conversation.
That means he's the better quarterback.
No, that means he's a greater quarterback.
That means he's the better quarterback.
That means he's surrounded by greater things, and that's what Tom Brady.
Put your bottles where your face is.
You know the
he's
difference?
going further. Yes, I do know the difference.
Greater is not the same as better. You could be. Barry Sanders was the best running back ever.
If we're saying
and he
greater,
was not the greatest running back because he didn't have the team success.
If we're saying
that's
greater,
this situation.
if we're saying greater, then it's not even a debate.
It's not a debate.
With,
but we said as good, which is better. Who's better, Tom Brady or Drew Brees right now?
And the AFC is nowhere near as good as the NFC.
Tom Brady will lead his team further in the playoffs than Drew Brees.
Won't mean anything.
Tom Brady ain't getting out of the first round. I'm sorry to break that news to you.
Okay.
It's over with Saturday. The clock is
It's all
ticking.
fun and games till the game's
Stick around. Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington, and Brady Papinga are back. Time now for a big story. Sponsored by KFC's $20 fill-ups. Order ahead or get it delivered at KFC.com. All right, let's move to Dallas, where Jerry Jones is meeting with Jason Garrett again today. Their third meeting since the Cowboys season ended last Sunday. There's been a lot of speculation about why Jerry keeps meeting with Garrett, who most people expect to be fired, but Jerry has yet to make any announcement on Garrett's future or what the Cowboys plan to do with their head coach position. All right, the question here is Jerry Jones just doing all this to grab attention?
Not at all. I think Jerry Jones is going back to the basics, going back to pre-social media, this instant, urgent mindset that we all have, microwave mentality where we have to do everything so fast. Like the Cleveland Browns got to fire the coach before he even get out the shower just because we got to send out perception and image that we know what we're doing. We're on to the next. Jerry Jones is saying, look, man, if I were trying to grab attention, wouldn't I give y'all more ammunition to fuel this fire of the attention that I'm supposedly seeking? He's just keeping quiet. Two professionals are in the room. Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett sitting there saying, how are we going to land this plane? What's the golden parachute? Reallocation of your services, whatever that may mean. And those are the things that we all grew up respecting. You know, when you got the paper the next day, you found out what happened. You didn't have to find out right then. And now I'm loving Jerry Jones for showing that a team and a regime that people say is dysfunctional at the top is doing things the right way, patiently, and trying to show you that we're not out here for the clout. We're just out here trying to handle business.
I don't buy that, not one bit. I just think that they haven't got their their prospect yet. I think he's trying to land a plane, but it ain't the plane of the Dallas Cowboys with him and Jason Garrett at the wheel of it. I think he is really trying to narrow down or conclude negotiations or whatever it is he's going to do with who he believes is going to be the next coach of this team. And until he does that, I have to maintain a relationship with this guy because maybe in Jerry's mind, the next best prospect to the guy that I'm trying, or guys, plural, that I'm trying to land is Jason Garrett. I don't want to fracture the relationship. And if I don't land Urban Meyer, if I don't land question marks, whoever the other guy may be, the candidates may be, I don't want to be in a situation where it was like, I asked her to the prom. They don't want to go. You want to go? You still want to go? Like, I don't think anybody wants to have that type of situation play out. So I guess I'll change my opinion.
I'm about to say.
Yes, it is for attention. It is for attention. You know why?
What?
It's for attention, for public perception, because if it doesn't work out with the guys he's trying to bring in, then it looks as though he was going through the process, as Marcellus said, and handled it in a way that was responsible from the top and trying to fix and right the ship.
Yeah, I mean, in Jerry's mind right now, he's not worried about attention or trying to get his brand name out there. He knows that's going to happen just as a byproduct. What he's worried about is he's got his guy, Jason Garrett. Because one thing when I was with the Dallas Cowboys that just struck me when I first arrived is how loyal Jerry Jones is to his guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he has certain guys are his guys. And he will go to bat for them forever, and Jason Garrett is one of his guys. He looks at Jason Garrett like his son. And so this to me is that in his mind, his business mind, he knows they need a refresh, they need new blood, they need to get some excitement going with their team. But at the same time, his heart is conflicting to where he doesn't want to let Jason Garrett go. His worst nightmare, Jerry Jones's, is to see Jason Garrett have success with some other franchise because that's how much Jerry Jones believes in him. And so to me, this is more of a conflict of heart versus what makes business sense. And he's trying to figure out how can I make both work without there being a conflict.
Jerry would be tore up if Garrett went to the XFL and won a title there.
Man, I can't with you, man.
Jason Garrett's a hell of a coach.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Listen,
love Jason Garrett.
48% of me thinks Jerry just likes us talking about him. But there's 52% of me that says Jerry is so shaken by this season. It'll be like me Saturday night if the Patriots somehow win the game.
Well, you're going to be shook.
My whole world will be
You're all going to feel that.
My whole world will be shaken if that's true.
Yep.
And so I think Jerry, he's doing a legitimate self-audit. That he's in there with Jason. What did I do? What did the organization do? How did we get here? Because they went into this season like, man, we put together a Super Bowl team. I just did the damnedest. And he's sitting there like, I got to sit here and do an audit and take a week, and it's about going to be 4, 5, 6 days to figure out and gather as much information from Jason Garrett as possible. And maybe there is an outside chance that Jerry concludes, you know what, Jason, we would like for you to serve as our general manager and help us with the next coach, blah, blah, blah. But 48% of me thinks he's just likes the attention, this low draw. 52% of me says he's shaking and doing a legitimate self-audit.
There's no way you can put him back in the head coach's position outside of extraordinary circumstances.
General manager.
We didn't say that.
I don't even think that. You can't put him
Why?
in a leadership role. Maybe you could do general manager, but again,
That's what his personality may be for, man. He's a very analytical, intellectual guy.
And maybe a rebranding of him could help. Maybe that's possible. But in terms of putting him back at the coach's position, once you've taken that level of enforcer of being a leader, of being the coach, and that line is blurred, I just don't think you can go back to that. So if it is a GM's position, a different position, I can see that. But he hasn't named that.
Well, the thing is, the corporate structure there, Will McClay is actually their active GM. In terms of doing the work, he's VP of player personnel.
And he's phenomenal.
If you know Will is putting in the work. And Will's like, I don't need none of this shine. So that's going to be interesting if that is the upstairs role for him. I know that Jerry's not seeking attention because pursuits for any candidates always comes with a leak because it takes your agent or recruiter to get involved. And that person's incentivized to let this story go out there for negotiations and leverage. So I don't even think it's about, let's just sit back here and try and seek attention quietly. What's happening is circumstantial as well. This is a holiday week. Let's just be respectful. LA is beautiful right now. There's not a damn person on the road right now. You know why? No one's working. So in order to make a connection to what's next, maybe you need that connection. Who knows if they're skiing in Vail for the weekend? And your candidate is like, look, I'm not looking forward to any of these opportunities, so there's no deadline. I think this is a patient, professional walk to see what's next after you figure out what you just went through.
Nepotism has crippled that organization. If they continue with the nepotism movement, it will continue to get the same results.
Stephen Jones is amazing.
If you think, how are they amazing?
You don't like Stephen Jones?
If you say he considers Jason Garrett as a son, Stephen Jones is in there. No, it isn't good. He hasn't done a great job. How many Super Bowls do they have? How many Super Bowl appearances have they made?
Well, look,
why
we just went to a Saints organization you said is done amazing.
Let's do it.
And they only got one. So, look, the Dallas Cowboys do have three. Now, they're archaic.
With Stephen Jones?
No, not with Stephen Jones. But Stephen Jones has constructed a roster that has us up here with the expectations they should win a Super Bowl.
Well, how close have they come?
Listen to this.
With Jason Garrett and Stephen Davis. Stephen Jones.
But remember this.
Stephen Jones.
Jerry Jones, he's making, I would imagine, $300 million a year that we know about off of the Dallas Cowboys. And he hasn't won a Super Bowl. So he's business-wise in a good shape. He's making more money than any other NFL team.
That's smoke and mirrors.
And listen to this. He wants to keep his role as a GM. If not, he would be looking for a GM right now, and he'd be saying, I'm going to take a step back. Because he's the reason why their team underperformed this year. But this is the exact reason why he loves Jason Garrett. Because Jason Garrett, being his guy, is willing to stand up in front of the media, take all the heat that, by the way, is brought on to the organization because of Jerry Jones and him wanting to do his thing. And Jerry Jones is going crazy because he's thinking, okay, if I bring in somebody else like Urban Meyer, are they going to be willing to do that? Are they going to stand up and take all these darts for the media?
But currently you can't lead your team to a divisional crown in the weakest division, arguably, in the NFL.
But man, you know better than anybody. How does that work? When you have the owner who is not a football guy, or a lady, depending on, constantly meddling in football operations, it's going to constantly cut the legs out.
So you're making my point.
But you always talk about the same point in Washington.
Doesn't want to let that go.
There's a double bottom line.
It's worse than Dallas.
No, it's a double bottom line. You want to win games, but you also want to win. Jerry already won. Now he's just trying to win games as well, but you can't cut one for the other.
Only thing I'll go back to my 48% though. There are certain people and certain personality types, man, that just love attention all the time. And Jerry Jones, the way he handles virtually everything, from post-game to midweek radio interviews to the guy loves attention. Dragging out this process. We haven't seen any team do this, particularly with a guy whose contract's up, who's had 9 years, who just had the most disappointing season probably in Jerry Jones's mind. There's no reason not to fire this guy unless you're doing a really deep dive self-audit, or you're just doing something, some more attention grabbing, which,
he's a master salesman.
All right, Whitlock and Wiley, Brady Papinga's back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst TJ Houshmandzadeh. Time now for Dat Dude's Dudes. Marcellus, what you got?
Oh, man, 2 tons of fun up here. I need some more of that Crown Royal,
2.5.
Woo, holiday time, you ain't lying. Let's go with Dat Dude's Dudes. Number 3, Ty Sambrailo. Big dog breakaway. Let's look at this. Falcons and Bucks. Watch my man Ty get it in. Gets off the line, free down the field, 35-yard score. Don't let the fat fool you. That's what he says when he catches it with the other mitts. 315-pound tackle shaking the world. You see that ground shaking right there? That's the biggest man to ever score a touchdown that long. You know who you are, Ty. Number 3, that dude of the week. Number 2, let's go with Joe Looney and these Looney Tunes, Redskins at Cowboys. And here comes big, bad Joe Looney with the monster block for Zeke. Keep going, Zeke. Finally, you did something this year. Who takes it in for the touchdown? Redskins linebacker Cole Holcomb. You know what's about to happen. I ain't, mommy, Rampart. He about to get some of this. Ooh, lit up by Holcomb.
Get out the club.
Never stood a chance. He said, this is Jerry's world. Joe Looney, watch this. Boom! Oh, hit him with that. Kick him in the pit. I love you right there, my man. Joe Looney, number 2, that dude of the week. Now let's go to number 1. People forgot about this guy. Not me. JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, you down with JPP? You know me.
Oh,
Breaks tackle Khalid McGarry around the edge and drills Matt Ryan for the sack. Take a look at this move again. JP got that stutter step. Hit him with that stutter step. Ooh, this is that swipe right there. This is a hump swipe. A little different than Reggie White did it. Now it's time to go into predator mode. It's time to get a clear path to Matty Ice, predator style. Hit him, hunt him down for the sack. JPP, you know who you are. Time to roll on him, baby. Get your roll on. Balling out of control this year. JPP, that dude. Weak.
All right, great job, Marcellus.
Yes,
that was awesome. All right, let's move to Cleveland, where the Browns appear to be starting from scratch after firing head coach Freddie Kitchens and general manager John Dorsey. Now our own Bruce Feldman reports that Cleveland has strong interest in bringing in Urban Meyer to right the ship, though Browns owner Jimmy Haslam claimed today he's only looking at people with NFL experience.
Oh.
All right, the question here is, think Urban Meyer could fix the Browns?
Could he fix them? Yes. Should he take the job? Hell no. What are you doing? This is only a great job if you pit it against other jobs and other opportunities. Like, would I go to Cleveland before Dallas? I would. Lower expectations, a talented roster that I think I could fit, and because of the runway I would be given by the Cleveland Browns and their fan base, because my name is Urban Meyer, I would take that job. But it's not a great job. You got a quarterback that, what are you supposed to believe in terms of what his talent and mindset is? And then there are a lot of players on that team that have learned the wrong culture. To fix that culture, how long will it take Urban Meyer? So I know that he could go there and get it done. He'll have enough time to do it, but I wouldn't take it.
Oh, 100% he can fix them. If you listen to comments just from the players on that team, they were lacking one thing, and it was leadership and a voice at the top. And then you hear the offensive coordinator say, oh, man, we would run plays and call plays that we didn't even practice. As for a player, that puts you out. Now, the culture can be changed. In Cincinnati, my first 2 years in the league, it was a lot went on at training camp that didn't go on in other teams. I know that for a fact. We didn't stay in hotels for home games. Marvin Lewis got in there. We got leadership. He changed the culture, and it took time for guys to buy in, but either you're going to buy in or you're not going to be there. And you speak of talent on a roster, they have huge talent. As soon as Urban Meyer takes that job,
boom,
he's going to garner respect from the guys because of his name and what he's accomplished at the college level. So, yeah, he would fix him, no problem.
Urban Meyer, if I was an executive looking for a head coach, would be my number one guy, regardless of situation. So, like you guys said, he's capable. But, man, unless Jimmy Haslam sells the team, there's no way he's going to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you have an owner that is constantly meddling in football operations, messing things up. And I mean, you just look at what John Dorsey was able to do, talent-wise. He was able to bring in a tremendous amount of talent, whether it's Beckham. Obviously, he drafted Baker Mayfield. I love Baker, by the way, if under the right circumstances. Yeah, Landry in there. I mean, they were loaded. And obviously, they didn't fulfill expectations. And, yeah, he made a mistake in hiring Freddie Kitchens, who had no structure whatsoever. But then, lo and behold, you go to that very guy who added an influx of talent to your team, and you're basically saying, you know what, we're going to take away your GM capabilities. We would love to have you here to give us a menu of players that we could choose from, but in order to have an executive decision-making ability, we want to go with somebody else.
Could it be because his choice of head coach was a complete failure? So if you want to hire Freddie Kitchens as a head coach, can I really trust you to hire somebody in that leadership position when you tremendously failed hiring Freddie Kitchens?
Absolutely, because one example I bring up is Dennis Allen with the Oakland Raiders. He was hired by Reggie McKenzie, absolute failure. They fired him midseason, but then lo and behold, they bring in Jack Del Rio. They get back to the playoffs. It's possible to get another coach in there, and I do believe John Dorsey listened to Baker Mayfield, and Baker's like, man, this is my guy, and he's like, okay, we'll go with him. But you don't go and basically fire, get rid of a heck of a front office personnel like John Dorsey, Alonzo Highsmith, Elliott Wolf, guys that I know very well from the Green Bay Packers that had done a fantastic job without being absolutely dysfunctional. And for that reason, Urban Meyer is not going there, and he wouldn't have success there.
Hiring is the hardest thing to do in anything. You miss way more than you hit on hires. Having said that, I think Jimmy Haslam's comments about, hey, no, we're only looking for NFL experience, that to me sounds like Urban Meyer's people let them know I'm not taking the Cleveland job.
Exactly.
And it makes me think that Urban Meyer hopefully is a candidate for the Cowboys job. Because I think Urban Meyer wants to coach again. I do think the question here is, could he fix the Browns? Absolutely. The guy is a leader. I mean, he probably leads in his sleep. And he installs structure. If you look at Ohio State and the way they didn't skip a beat, he steps away, Ohio State keeps going because he put a system and structure in place and established a culture that could carry on without him. I think that's exactly what the Browns need. I don't think Urban Meyer thinks the Browns are what he needs. There's better out there for him. Hopefully it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's interesting that, one, there is an adjustment, obviously, to the pro structure where they penalize success. So in the draft, you don't get rewarded. Like Urban Meyer's used to getting rewarded with championship teams. I get to still get the 5 stars and still be champions. That's not the pro model. To win a culture and change a culture, that's a lot in the pro world. Rare cases. Looking at TJ's situation with Marvin Lewis, you guys were together, 6 years? 1 winning season in 6 years, and Marvin Lewis is a damn good coach. Yeah. But most of them were 8-8. You had 1 good year, 2 bad years. And that's Marvin Lewis. So if Urban Meyer goes there, how do you change those tides that fast? It's not going to be overnight. They have talent, but they don't have mindset, and I think that's going to undermine them.
I'll say this about, I don't want to, the Marvin Lewis debate. Cincinnati, man, the Brown family, very low budget. Cleveland, Jimmy has they're going to finance things in a way that Urban Meyer will have a chance, if he were interested, or whoever takes that job. They'll have a chance at having success. But again, I go back. Urban Meyer shouldn't want this job. There's better out there, in my opinion. But he would certainly fix it. Time now for Darnell's question today. All right, take it away, homeboy.
Yes, sir. Let's move to college football. With touchdown Tua's future remains up in the air. As he recovers from his hip surgery, the injured QB has said he will announce his intentions for next season on Monday, January 6th. And former Bama QB and SEC analyst Greg McElroy said he believes Tua will return to Tuscaloosa for his senior year. I want to ask you guys, do you think it would be smart for Tua to go back to Bama for 1 more year?
I'm not going to put a smart or dumb label on it. I don't think it would be the worst decision if he returned for another year. The more starts you have at the college level is a great indicator of how much success you're going to have at the NFL level.
I'll put a label on it. It'll be dumb to go back. I can rehab for free, or I can rehab and get paid. I'm going to get paid. 1, that's the reason why you went to college in the first place, to get your services up to a value level where you could take it to the next level. Now, where will they land in the NFL? Probably not number 1 overall because of what Joe Burrow is doing, and obviously no health concerns so far. But if you look at Tua, the most accurate quarterback in college football history, his reasoning is based on further evaluation. If I can't go out there in my pro day or combines or some of these bowl games, I may not be able, all-star games, I may not be able to get further evaluated. Brother, what you put on film, trust me, one of those 32 teams, and it's probably one of the top 5 teams drafting, is ready to pounce on your services. Take yourself to the NFL.
I'm with you. Idiotic to go back. It makes no sense. You're in a lose-lose situation. Before he got hurt, it was a foregone conclusion he was gone because he was already putting things in place in order. I know people that know it was a done deal. Even after he got injured, it was a done deal that he was leaving Alabama. If he stays at Alabama, you're going to be a top 5 pick whether you leave or stay. Next, you're going to compete with Joe Burrow this year. Next year, you're going to compete with Trevor Lawrence. So you're going to be in the same boat as, will I be the first quarterback drafted? You get generational money where you can change your family. This Polynesian culture, they're so tight. They're going to make this decision as a family. But from what I've been told, he's gone. And if he comes back to Alabama, who's ever given him advice to telling him to come back, they're dead wrong about it because even if he slides in the draft, he's going to go to a better team, which will probably give him a better chance at success at the NFL level.
You can never put dumb or idiotic, especially from a Columbia grad. You can never put that attached to educational value. All right?
You bought the hype? Oh.
That's first and foremost.
Oh, you bought it.
Educational value and standards does matter. That's one. That's first and foremost. If you're in school, guys, and you're able to get to school, get your education, all right? All right, but can he Can he project out? Where are you looking at? What team may or may not draft you? I think that will play a part in this. I also think that if you're talking about someone who takes pride in what their performances are and at the type of school that he's at, one, he still comes back with an opportunity to win a national title, for one. For two, he does get the rehab, and while you may say it's free, I would say that it's under the protective eye of a team and of a school that will allow him to get healthy and actually play healthy or whatever it is that needs to take place for him during the course of this time. He will not have that type of coverage when he goes to the pros. He will come in. We're going to talk about how accurate a passer he is. We're going to talk about how high profile and how much success he had at Alabama. There are going to be a lot of unnecessary pressures that ride with his draft status, and he may or may not.
He gonna have that same pressure when whenever he comes out.
But he will most likely be healthy coming into the
if he's not healthy,
draft.
They're going to
Then
protect him.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think so.
I agree with LeVar. I hate to label anything related to someone's decision that's this personal as dumb because, look, Alabama, maybe not traditionally at the quarterback position, but everywhere else, they do an amazing job of preparing guys for the NFL. And so you can't tell me that he couldn't benefit from another year playing in Nick Saban's culture and system. I do, and again, you go look across the board at the quarterbacks, and you can even, I even say this a lot of times about NBA players. The longer you stay in college, the better prepared. And
He's
a lot
been
of
for 3 years. He started 32 games.
There's a percentage that shows the success rate of guys that graduate college versus guys that drop out and go into the pros. There's a percentage rate.
Okay.
And the percentage rate of success is much higher for the guys that graduate from college.
Well, let's not stay in college to win another championship because you already won one. So, I mean, you want that feeling again, or you already got that? No, I already got that feeling. I checked that box.
I'm just telling y'all.
Two, I'm checking that box because
you only did it once.
High-end,
you got 4 kids,
Power
man.
5 football.
You need that feeling more than once.
You stupid.
I got a feeling a lot more than 4 times. Let me just tell you that. That's how you can get more than 4 kids. $34.4 million is what he's projected to get if he's the 5th pick. He stayed at Alabama. Damn, he got to compete against his own brother next year again. You talk about the situation with Matt Barkley. Y'all remember Matt Barkley?
Yep.
Oh.
Modern day USC.
Remember him at SC and they said, Matt Barkley, come out. How did that go? He was top 10 pick. I was here. Top 10 pick, come out.
Are you really comparing?
Don't do that. That is the cheapest book in broadcasting. All I'm saying is you were a top 10 pick. And they said, 1 more year of service, and you can play under the USC, and then you can go out there and be even better. 4th round.
USC ain't Alabama.
It ain't. But you know what? Tua needs to be smart about this decision because money's involved. That's where it becomes smart.
Big money.
Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington, and TJ Houshmandzadeh are back. Time now for the most fearless discussion of the day. Let's move to Antonio Brown, who isn't any closer to an NFL return despite a workout with the Saints last week. Reportedly, the team wasn't happy that AB showed up to the tryout with an entourage and have actually signed a different receiver since then. But earlier this week, Brown clapped back, posting a video claiming the workout was nothing more than, quote, a publicity stunt by the Saints. All right, any truth here?
No. Organizations are not sitting there saying, you know, we're in this effort to clout chase, worth billions of dollars as we are, to the point where we just want to create noise for AB. I think this was a legitimate workout. Adam Schefter said AB was AB, which meant he killed the workout. And they were just trying to kick the tires and move the process ahead to see when this Hall of Fame receiver could get off the shelf. Now, this, I know what is some clout chasing. I know what is a publicity stunt. Him tweeting out that he's going to do his own public workout and a dozen or 2 dozens of people show up on a Sunday and that's it. So those type of workouts are publicity stunts because no one there can make you get an opportunity that's shown up to your public workouts. But the one for the Saints, I think that was legitimate.
Yeah, it was a publicity stunt, but I'll argue.
It was a publicity stunt by the Saints.
No. Who made it a publicity stunt is the question. I will argue is, when he posted that he signed a contract to work out for the Saints, and then you bring your own camera crew, you're turning it into a publicity stunt by doing what you did. So I make the argument It was a publicity stunt.
Indeed.
But
was
he's
yours.
the one that made it a publicity stunt and not the Saints.
Indeed. I mean, you took it. And I'll further add to that. For one, that's considered overvaluing your worth as a football player. I'll never say undervalue or overvalue yourself as a human. But as a football player, you're overvaluing yourself. Like, let's be clear here. You have not had any tryouts. You have not been signed by any teams. You've been let go by 2 teams all in one season. So you're overvaluing yourself here in this situation. And if anything, this sets the stage for you to have an opportunity to possibly open the door for other workout opportunities. Why would you set yourself out there the way that you just did right now? It continues to be a self-sabotage of what AB represents, and there's no way he could possibly seriously think that somebody is going to take a chance on the person. We know your skill, but people are not going to invest in the person, and that's the biggest problem here.
I'm going to defend AB. Okay. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
There you go.
This is new territory for me. AB's not a professional communicator, broadcaster, writer, so he tweets out what he tweets out and uses the word publicity stunt. When what I think he meant to say is the Saints were trolling the NFL. The NFL has been out here slow playing the investigation. Sean Payton has been irate with the NFL since Bountygate and certainly since the call in last year's NFC Championship game. And Sean, I think what AB's saying is like, man, they just brought me in to put a little pressure on the NFL, make the NFL have to answer some questions about what's taking so long with the investigation. I think AB thinks they were trolling the NFL.
I like that. Like, I'm a collateral
thought.
damage.
Man.
I'm caught in the crossfire
That would
right
take
there.
some deep thought, though. I mean, and
Sean,
I'm
you
not
don't think
Sean
I'm
got deep thought?
I'm not trying to say.
You remember that shirt he wore?
How does AB come to that conclusion? Oh, they just using me. And if you thinking that deeply, what are you taking the workout for anyway?
Again,
he misspoke.
AB's capable, because AB thinks about himself a lot.
Okay.
So he can come up with some decent thoughts about himself.
I'm not-
The rest of the world, they might not do
Or maybe he didn't come up with
I'm
it.
not-
Somebody said, man,
Yeah.
they used you up, big dog.
Drew Rosenhaus.
They
Yeah.
used you
Well,
up because nothing has come from this. So what was the Sean Payton shirt that he wore before? And Goodell clown shirt, and then he had it halfway zipped and all that.
yes.
He on a mission to kind of poke at the commissioner, so maybe AB came to that conclusion, but maybe not from his own volition, but someone intelligent around him.
I'm not saying he's not intelligent. I'm just saying that is real conspiracy theory there. And why would he apply that to himself? And if so, why would you go do the
Well,
workout?
because again, Drew Rosenhaus and these guys and people around AB may have been like, hey, are the Saints really serious? They're on a Super Bowl run. They really going to bring this kind of distraction? Why would they do it? It really doesn't make a lot of sense because the investigation's not done. AB can't help them this year.
Right.
They're in on a mission this year.
But
why would they do it other than...
AB can be looking at it like this. Drew Rosenhaus calls you. Hey, the Saints want to work you out. You get that level of excitement like, man, I'm probably about to get signed and get on a good team. And then you realize, oh, the NFL's not going to clear you. They're not going to let you play. Yeah. And he's thinking to himself, oh, they probably already knew this prior to, oh, it's a publicity stunt. But again, what I said, it could have been. Nobody would have known you were working out with the Saints if you don't release the stuff you did on Instagram and you bring your own camera. Nobody would know.
It still leads to the question, why would you sabotage yourself and put out there publicly, whether the NFL is going to clear you or not? Why would you put it out there that this was a publicity stunt? Why not? If it's Drew Rosenhaus, your agent, that's coming out here and being your brainchild or whoever it may be, but why not flip it and use it to leverage other workouts, whether you're going to get cleared or not? Why not
because
use this
in
as
his
a
mind,
positive?
you say it's overvalued. He feels he's too big to fail. So he's too big to not have opportunities. And be real, when you were getting it, the days you were getting it and the days I were getting come on, man. I knew no matter whatever I did, I bet you I got a job and it's going to be highly paid. There were moments, so don't act like we can't get up here in this nice studio and forget.
Listen,
we've been
I
there.
would not self-sabotage myself.
Man.
No, but
I'm sorry. I can't go with
the
that.
LeVar of today, the LeVar of 12, 15 years
back
ago.
there would not. I wouldn't self-sabotage.
Well,
I would speak my mind.
Hold for a
but
second.
I'm not going to go.
He's made a hell of a point, and it's an important point, and because I'm glad you said it because I really want to say to young people, don't ever fool yourself into thinking you're too big to fail. Yep. this world moves on without you.
Yes.
And AB and everybody has to learn that lesson. I grew up with a guy that's as talented as anybody that's ever played in the NFL. And it was tough for him to realize, damn, my talent and these guys are passing on it for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It's a lesson we all, and AB, I can definitely see him in that mentality of, I'm too big to fail.
I don't see how at this moment he could be too big to fail. You have no job.
All right, before we go, I want to address the passing of former NBA Commissioner David Stern, who died on New Year's Day after suffering a brain hemorrhage 2 weeks ago. In a tribute column for ESPN, basketball sage Adrian Wojnarowski labeled Stern an uncompromising force of nature. In a column for The Athletic, longtime NBA reporter David Aldridge recounted and praised Stern's relentless and bullying advocacy for the association. Everyone, from Magic Johnson to Michael Jordan to LeBron James, credits Stern for shaping the modern NBA with his bold vision of global relevance. I don't disagree with any of the assessments. Stern's micromanaging, bullying leadership style, and imagination made him a force of nature with the media, players, executives, and owners he ruled. Stern was a dictator. It's no surprise the subjects who spent 3 decades fearing his wrath would celebrate his passing by loudly stating their submission to his will was justified. But was it? Unchecked power is often misguided and always inferior to power sharpened by objection. You want to know why the gap in relevance, traction, and popularity between the NFL and the NBA continues to widen? Because the mainstream media doesn't worship football. Iron sharpens iron, and the American media feed the NFL a steady dose of it. David Stern's global vision for the NBA was misguided and poorly executed. The goal of making the game the toast of communist China and other foreign countries has strings attached that constrict like chains. How much is American freedom of speech worth? Depends on who you ask. Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey values it far more than Nike and LeBron James. But it's not just the sacrifice of our guiding principles for money. No, the NBA's pursuit of global relevance did and does more damage than that. It sparked an unhealthy disregard for an American sports institution, college basketball, the former lifeblood of the NBA. Stern offered no resistance or any compromise solution to American teenagers abandoning the college game. He foolishly thought the demise of college hoops would benefit his league. It hasn't. The greatest advantage the NFL has over the NBA is that college football sends Roger Goodell's league prepackaged, pre-branded stars with massive and loyal college fan bases. Hardcore college football fans love the NFL. Hardcore college basketball fans despise the NBA. NBA television ratings have suffered a cataclysmic fall since the Michael Jordan era. It's the fallout from Stern's global vision. He didn't take care of America first. The mainstream sports media won't tell you this because they might have to admit that the globalist elite agenda they promote works for a small handful of people and works against the great mass of Americans. If you're one of the minuscule number of people touched by the hand of God and will one day be 6'8" with a vertical leap in the 40s, David Stern and Nike have created the perfect basketball league for you. For everyone else, and this includes most of the guys playing in the NBA, Stern and Nike's global vision doesn't serve you nearly as well as you might think. More Speak for Yourself after this. LeVar Arrington and TJ Houshmandzadeh are back. Let's return to the NFL. Sponsored by the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? The league's investigation of the Patriots Spygate 2.0 scandal could wrap up as early as this week, and it sounds like the Patriots could get off relatively easily. Reportedly, the NFL has found no evidence linking Bill Belichick or the Patriots football staff to the production crew caught videotaping the Bengals sideline back in December. Would it bother you if Belichick isn't punished for Spygate 2.0?
No, not at all. We have to remember who punished him for Spygate 1.0. And that's the same organization that looked into this, which is the NFL, and so far has not been able to connect the dots and place blame, culpability on Bill Belichick. So what am I supposed to think? I tell you what I'm supposed to think. They ain't do anything. And if they did something, it was this department not connected to football operations. So for my money, I know that if you're going to sit there and say, hey, the NFL is trying to take it easy on the Patriots, what happened to Spygate 1.0? They didn't take it easy on the Patriots. So obviously the incentives are still aligned. They just haven't found anything.
It would not bother me because I'm not surprised. You can tell from the moment this investigation started, they were going to string it along and act like there was no wrongdoing. There wasn't any wrongdoing by the Patriots. And I look at it like, Sean Payton is looking at this like, wow, I got suspended an entire year, and I said I had no idea this was going on. Oh, Bill Belichick says he has no idea this is going on, and you guys investigate, and you're going to believe him? And so it doesn't surprise me. And Bill Belichick is a smart man. Whether they had some connection to the Patriots or not, he was going to make sure they didn't. There's no way you record a sideline of just the sideline of an opposing team that you just so happen to be playing the following week by coincidence. There's no way.
It bothers me, and the reason why it bothers me in a way is because it says if you're good enough at cheating, if you get caught on 1.0, we get you, but if we can change how we go about doing what we're doing, again, it bothers me because I'm looking at it from the perspective of they have been able to be successful for so long. It can't just be based upon this guy's brain is just that much more advanced than everybody else. It can't just be based upon we have the personnel that is superior to everybody else's to have this success. And when you hear of the Deflategate, you hear of 1.0, and then now you hit 2.0, and it's just very casually discussed as, you know what, it wasn't our crew, we didn't do it. What do you see? There's nothing there. Boom, you're beating the mousetrap. You know, there are a couple players, I'll leave nameless. There are a couple players that it bothers me that they had the careers that they had because it was better than mine. And maybe it might be a little bit of self-hate, right? Like it's a little self-hatred that I wasn't able to have. I won't call it jealousy,
Who you talking about then?
But I will say
Go just say one of them, man. You ain't got to name both. Just say one.
But they were not. But they stayed ahead.
You ain't gonna say Willie Mack.
No.
You ain't going there.
But these were guys that had successful careers because they were able to stay ahead of the testing policies that were out there. So for me, I look at it as if you're basically saying 2.0, nothing happens, and you don't really know what's on that film, but the people who got it, they know what's on that film. I'm a tad bit bothered by that.
Yeah, I'm bothered too.
You are too?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the record. I think Belichick should be suspended here. Now, again, I'm not going to say that their success is based off of.
It helps.
Every little bit helps.
I'm not going to say that. I do think Belichick has been better than his peers for a long time, and that I think he and Brady established a culture there that's superior to everyone else. But TJ, if I'm Sean Payton, I am irate because, and again, the more I think about and follow the Saints this year and how they've responded from last year, Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis and the Saints have done a remarkable job. They're never going to get the credit because in their mind, they got stolen the Super Bowl last year, and they'll never be on the same level as Brady and Belichick because Drew Brees is getting too old. But so just like you're sitting around like, man, there's some guys that got away with some stuff and had better careers than me. Sean Payton and Drew Brees are like, man, there's some guys that are going to have far better legacies than ours who beat the system.
Man, Belichick been doing this from day one. Ask Bill Parcells, ask that whole. I mean, Belichick has been that dude since.
What has he been doing from day one?
Winning.
Look, I don't know about that. I don't like to base someone's success and longevity based on it. They got an edge on me. And on this show, since we fearless, I'm gonna say it. Mike Vrabel, man, look, he balled out for the Patriots. I was sitting there like, I know I'm better than Vrabel. No, I wasn't, because he was with the Patriots. That wasn't cheating. That wasn't steroids. He was put in the proper position consistently versus me, maybe.
I'm not coming out with no names.
I want your name. Okay.
You ain't baked into no names. I'm not going to say no names.
But I will say one thing about Sean Payton.
I tell you off, though.
Okay. One thing about Sean Payton he can't be upset about, it's not just are you cheating. We've all cheated at something in our lives. Let's just be real about it. It's how you cheat and where you're cheating. Miss Hugo class 10th grade don't cheat, bro. You out to school. Like, she ain't just going to embarrass you in class. Everything's going to go to hell for you. You have a $1 billion lawsuit against the NFL for health conditions and player safety. You gonna cheat in that way? Like, that's not the way to cheat. And bounties. So guess what? It was the wrong situation and circumstance. What Belichick's doing, there's no billion-dollar integrity lawsuits against the NFL. No one really cares.
Darnell, is there a Super 6 this weekend?
Yes, sir, there is. Vikings and Saints. And before the game kicks off on Fox this Sunday, be sure to download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play for free for your chance to win Terry Bradshaw's $25,000. All right, guys, let's help our fans win some money. One of the questions is, which team will win and by how many points? Whitlock, Marcellus, who you got?
Saints 35-28.
All right, Saints 33-24. Kirk Cousins 0-1 in the playoffs. Don't think that changes.
Uncle Jimmy's here to talk about our approval ratings for Bill Belichick.
You.
All right, who's the big dummy of the day for
Mercy. Big dummy of the day go to the person that said, you don't go to college to learn, you go to college to build up your stock in the NFL.
Alabama, yeah.
You did go to Columbia, right?
Yeah, NFL. I got both.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's talk Bill Belichick, who will try to get the Patriots through a wild card weekend for the first time in a decade. As I've been saying, the Patriots dynasty is on its deathbed and the clock is ticking. And there have already been rumors that Belichick could end up coaching the Giants. Marcellus, think Belichick ever leaves New England?
No. And if he does, it's not this situation on his own terms, I think it will be. But I think he just stays there. Look, Tom Brady sooner or later has to go. That will be his opportunity to prove he can do it without Tom Brady and this whole Belichick and Brady situation. So, no, I think he stays still.
I do think there's a chance he leaves because I think Josh McDaniels stuck around for a reason, and maybe it's to replace Belichick in New England if Belichick goes off to coach the Giants. Uncle Jimmy, I see you got your Bible out, so you must be upset about my 10 commandments in my opening Whitlock.
Wow.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say good morning. Good afternoon to each and every one's involved. I'm going to say that this morning, children, I'm going to be speaking to you from the book of Webster. I'm speaking from the Old Testament of Webster, and for some of you that don't know that long before the days of Siri and Googles, it was the book of Webster's, if you wanted to know something. Now, dears, I want to bring your attention to the book of Webster teaches us that when you look up the word covet.
Yes, covet, yes.
Covetousness means to have a yearning desire to have or possess that which is not yours. Help me now.
The towel.
Look here, it's kind of like the time when I walked in my nephew's dressing room last week. Now, the Lord had just blessed me with a cupcake. Now, I want to ask you something, nephew. Did you or did you not covet my cupcake at that time? Now, tell the truth. Shame the devil.
I'm guilty. That's true.
Okay, now, was you perfectly capable of going out buying your own cupcake?
Yes, I was.
Of course you was. Anyone can tell just from looking at you, you ain't got no problem going out and acquiring food. But at that moment in time, hallelujah, you had a yearning to possess that which is not yours. You don't like that, do you?
Wow.
No.
Woo! Hallelujah. Let me go back a little bit. Let me take you back to the days of Kansas City. What was the year? Catch up with me, Darkles. Now, I want you to look at it. We're going back to 1990. Somewhere in there. Nephew, name me one girlfriend that Derek Thomas had that you didn't covet. At one time or another.
Yes.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, and help me, Lord, shortly after he passed, I caught a couple of his girls at your pool party, didn't I?
That is true.
Too soon, huh? So I'm trying to tell you, look here. I find your speakings preposterous, ridiculous, and borderline bullshitto.
Bullshitto? What is it? What is
How you gonna sit up here and say that Tom Brady is jealous of anybody? Look at me, that's like you sat up saying Uncle Jimmy is jealous of Onset because of Cardi Double D's.
Onset.
Now, why would I be upset at Cardi Double D's and I got the blue M&Ms? And not a one goes astray. Hallelujah. I'm like the good shepherd that take care of his flock. My rod, my staff. That's what comforts you. Yes, sir. Hallelujah.
I got Bill Belichick at a 70. I dropped him 3 points. And job performed.
Don't go in
All
tongues.
Help me.
The internet has the
Jimmy,
they got it
on
pretty
the
close.
main line. Tell him
Oh, man, I
what
ain't got
you
nothing to
want.
say, man. I got him at gold status.
Come on, y'all.